Hey everyone, welcome to the PFF Betting Podcast. I am your host, Kendall Valenzuela, joined with me as always, PFF Senior Data Scientist, Ben Brown. It is the best weekend of the year. We're continuing the best weekend of the year, Ben. We are breaking down all of Sunday's games with our best bets, player props, same game parlays. So let's get into it.
Football fans, I'm sure we all love an action-packed, high-scoring NFL game, but with the latest no-brainer from DraftKings Sportsbook, an official sports betting partner of the NFL, you'll be a winner once a single point is scored. New customers who bet just $1 on any team to score can win $100 in free bets. It's just that simple. If Sportsbook isn't available in your state yet, you can still get in on the NFL action. Everyone can play for huge cash prizes all season long with DraftKings Daily Fantasy Sports Contest. DraftKings is giving all new customers a free shot at millions of dollars in total prizes with their first deposit. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app now. Use promo code PFF. Bet $1 on any team to score and win $100 in free bets if they score. You score with promo code PFF this week at DraftKings Sportsbook, an official sports betting partner of the NFL. Must be 21 or older, New Jersey, Indiana, or Pennsylvania only. New customers only. Minimum $5 deposit and $1 wager required. One per customer. Restrictions apply. See DraftKings.com/sportsbook for details. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER.
Ben, I feel like we've been having, while recording this, a good Saturday. The Bengals came through for us. The Packers game right now, we're recording this at halftime, so that's just been a little bit weird, but they should break that open at any moment.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, it looks like they've obviously had, the only offensive production, of course, that they get the, pick near the end zone on the 49ers successful drive, I would say. But yeah, they look to be pretty firmly in control. I think Devontae Adams is definitely on pace to go over 7.5 receptions. Unfortunately, Aaron Rodgers hasn't thrown a touchdown yet. So I think we're probably going to, split a lot of those. But yeah, the Bengals game, I think, broke really well. Obviously, Bengals money line spread. We got Jamar Chase over receiving yards. I think, a lot of the other ones came home. Only Joe Burrow really rushing yards has continued to let us down, unfortunately.
I
that was like
I don't know what's
the
going
one
on
down spot. Yeah. And I wish I wouldn't have included the over 47, over 47 and a half in my same game parlay. That was the only miss on that. So I did go 3-4, but we got Joe Burrow over 24.5 completions. Kind of expected it to be a little bit more of a dip and dunk game, especially a lot of, passes behind the line of scrimmage, those sorts of things. Joe Mixon basically, wasn't relevant whatsoever on the ground. So I think it played out in a lot of ways the way we anticipated. And I think that, makes me confident kind of heading into Sunday here, because we did avoid, backing the 49ers when I think, basically everybody else at PFF, pushed.
It was trendy.
I guess. So
it was trendy. It was the work pick. That's for sure.
Right.
So we went against the grain there. No, I like it. And the Bengals game was fun to watch. So I'm excited for these games coming up. We'll start then with the first game on Sunday, which is Rams-Bucks, right? So the Bucks opened up as 3-point home favorites for this game. And the over-under was set at 48. And then money came in kind of on the Rams, right? And it kind of shifted the line a little bit. Now it's at Bucks -2.5, right? As of Friday afternoon. So can you kind of explain that maybe shift in the line and what you see coming up for this game?
Yeah, definitely. I do think, obviously there's some juice impacts on it. So if you're looking at like -2.5, probably looking more like a -120 price. I do think if it's, -3, it's close to like +100, maybe -105. So they're shifting it a little bit. I do think I initially didn't know for sure. Yeah, I guess if it was like, big money people trying to back the Rams at +3 or whatever, or if it was kind of, the uncertainty of the Tampa Bay Buccaneers injury situation, with Tristan Wirfs, Ryan Jensen, the guys up front, along with the fact that, their wide receiver unit is still really banged up as well. But it seems to be that at least the guys that were kind of questionable from Tampa Bay's perspective are probably going to be playing here. Of course, we are recording this Saturday night. Things could happen, close to warmups. Yeah. Nothing's official until it's, official an hour and a half before game time. But it does sound like those guys both going to be able to give it a go. And conversely, the Rams are going to be without Andrew Whitworth, Taylor Rapp. They're going to be starting basically Eric Weddle in that free safety position, which is probably, a little bit concerning against, the best quarterback that we've basically ever seen in our generation, maybe the best quarterback of all time. So even with the banged up secondary, I do think, Tampa Bay, Tom Brady definitely going to be able to take advantage here. So I like -2.5. I know we don't really have, a strong play from PFF's green line perspective, but I guess we do. I mean, we show like 3.4% edge. Yeah, we show 3.4% edge at -2.5 at a -110 price, which I do think is going to be hard to find. But yeah, I think if you get that, I think that's a pretty decent send for Tampa Bay, given all the injury situation that's kind of breaking in their direction here as we head into kickoff, right?
So. Yeah, I'm with you. I mean, because they played in week 3, right? They faced each other in week 3, and in that game, Matthew Stafford was almost like near perfect for Matthew Stafford, 343 yards, 4 touchdowns, and no interceptions. That's the big thing, because that's the trend that you've been talking about for the past few weeks now with his interceptions and really his pick sixes. And those have come up in the last few weeks there. So I have a tough time thinking that Stafford against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers is going to be able to repeat that performance. And I know they've gotten stronger defensively and things like that, but I just don't know if they have what it takes to go up against that Buccaneers team and walk away with a win away as well, like playing as the visitors.
Yeah, definitely. So obviously, the Buccaneers had the rash of, secondary injuries to start the season. Yeah. Sean Murphy-Bunting was out for a while, Carlton Davis as well. All those guys are back and healthy now, right? So I definitely agree with you that to see Stafford play something along the lines of an absolutely perfect game in order to beat the Tampa Bay Buccaneers defense is just not something that, PFF's really seen from their betting models, anything that I'm kind of seeing from what I'm looking at as well. So I agree with you. I think, 1 or 2 mistakes by Stafford is really all the Buccaneers are going to need in order to maybe, potentially put this one away relatively quickly. So I like the Buccaneers here. I know, and I understand why people think, the Rams can potentially slow them down, but I just don't really see that happening given, the secondary state of what the current Rams are looking like, I would say.
Yeah,
so
I don't either. And we're going with our guts, which is proven well this weekend so far. So that's what we're doing. Is it a finger gun?
Shooting from the hip, I guess. Shooting from the hip.
So. All right. Well, we'll dive into our props then. We like Tom Brady over 2.5 passing touchdowns, and there's good value on this, and that's at a plus price. So I like the value there too.
Right, definitely. I mean, we love our plus price props. Obviously, we love our over 2.5 passing touchdown props, especially from some of the best ones, but some of the best quarterbacks playing in the NFL right now. But yeah, this is play on that Rams secondary, right? We've seen Tom Brady successfully distribute the ball to a number of pass catchers in this Buccaneers offense. I think they're going to be able to continue to take advantage. Obviously, Jalen Ramsey locked up against Mike Evans probably could, for the most part, eliminate Mike Evans. And I don't think that's really going to slow down this passing attack a great deal. I do think, Leonard Fournette's going to be back in the fold. He was, pretty successful on some of those check down plays and other screens and those sorts of things. I think that's going to go pretty well. Maybe we see Tyler Johnson kind of get his head right, take advantage of a matchup that we kind of project out to be pretty easy. And then, other than that, I do think that, Rob Gronkowski, although I do like his under receiving yards as a pretty solid play, I do think he's at least going to be somewhat involved to the point. But I also think, I think they might have to keep him in to potentially protect a little bit against this, front four for the Los Angeles Rams. It's basically, the best pressure unit in the NFL. So we'll see. But I do think we're going to see them take advantage of what is kind of a banged up secondary. I don't think Eric Weddle is going to be fully capable of slowing down anything at the safety position. I do think that's a spot that, Tom Brady is basically going to be able to take advantage of over the middle. So
what's an outlier for you in this game? Like, what are you watching for, I guess, with the Rams that you are nervous about picking when you're picking the Tampa Bay Bucks, right? What is something that you think that they could bring forward that could hinder Tampa winning this game?
Yeah, I mean, obviously it's going to have to be from their defensive side. And then if they hit, 1 or 2 shots deep or something like that, that's going to be the concerning part of the equation, right? I think if Mike Evans is, successfully locked up by Jalen Ramsey basically all game, Rob Gronkowski is forced to, stay in and kind of be at least chipping or blocking in a lot of passing down situations. Of course, he hasn't done that heavily, but in that week 3 matchup, he did have his highest pass block snaps of the 2021 season. So I do think we're going to see that mixed in a little bit more. And then you're asking guys like, Tyler Johnson, maybe Cameron Brate, other people basically, Tyler Grayson basically to win matchups one-on-one. And to me, it is Tom Brady. He can throw people open, but those guys still have to catch it, right? And I do think that's probably the one concerning thing. And that's the reason why we've probably seen the spread shift down in the Rams direction. So
got it. All right. Well, I think we need to go back to the well. Maybe, I don't know. We haven't hit a quarterback rushing prop in a while. I haven't seen Jimmy G run tonight yet. So I don't think we're even close to that 1.5 right there.
I thought he was close. I thought he maybe had 1 yard or something. Maybe. There might have been like a sack where he tried to move up. Yeah. I didn't track it really closely, unfortunately.
All right. But Tom Brady 1.5. That's what it's set at right now. Right. I feel like that is a fall for it. And I think Tom is going to be under pressure this game, right? He should lead him to maybe taking on a serious note, it should lead him to having to run the ball maybe just a couple of times to break free. So I think 1.5 here is too low to not take.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, if you think, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers receivers and, pass catchers in general struggle to get separation downfield, obviously that's going to play a role in it. We have seen, Brady at least fall forward, dive forward a little bit to, not make such a negative play if he is potentially going to get sacked or under pressure. So I like it a little bit. He's been a little bit spry here, especially in 2021. So I think it's a decent little sprinkle, right? I would rather have it at, over 0.5 instead of 1.5, but you take what you can get. We do have it basically as the third highest value prop. Yeah. The only question is, what one do you like more? Matthew Stafford over 2.5 rushing yards or Tom Brady over 1.5 passing?
I like Tom. I'm taking Tom. I'm taking Tom. Tom 1.5 rushing yards. It just feels right.
Right. So Stafford did go over this last week against Arizona. 22 total rushing yards was definitely mobile, and that's kind of what caused it to go up, a full yard from his 1.5 last week. But I like both of them. Maybe that's a decent little, same game parlay spot or something like that, right?
You can't go wrong. I mean, you can recently with us, you can't go wrong. But
on the quarterback rushing props for sure.
At least on those for sure. Well, one I'm very interested to hear in is your Rob Gronkowski under 63.5 receiving yards. And it's weird because Gronk and Tom, when they get to the postseason, are different, right? I mean, they like to connect. Most times they're good for an anytime touchdown now and again, but you like his under 63.5 receiving yards. And a lot of it is based on what the Buccaneers wild card scheme indicated is coming up for this team.
And of course it was, the offensive line was definitely more banged up than what it sounds like it's going to be in this matchup. So maybe not necessarily my favorite play it was early on in the week. It has moved basically a yard against me. It is up to 64.5 now. So you can get the under by up by 1 yard, but I just think there's this weird narrative obviously being factored in right now that's causing Gronkowski's price to probably just get a little bit overstated in a lot of ways. I think he was at 62.5 previous weeks, 75.5 before that, but then he hasn't been above 60 yards in any of the prior games before that. Of course, the pass catching situation has obviously gotten more dicey, but I just think it's gotten a little bit overstated based on, that week 17, week 18 game where he could easily finish with, 3 catches for 30 yards, be somewhat productive from a pass blocking standpoint and still have, a pretty worthwhile game. So that's kind of what I project out. I do think the more of the underneath stuff is going to be Gio Bernard, Leonard Fournette coming out of the backfield. And then if there's, anything deep, it's going to have to be from, either Tyler Johnson or Mike Evans. So I just don't see Gronkowski being the guy in the passing offense. And I do think that his 64.5 receiving yards kind of indicates that that's what he's going to have to be in order to go over. So I think it's a decent fade given the fact that the pass rush is going to be pretty difficult and need him to at least chip on a lot of situations. So.
Yeah. And that's going to drop him from that, from the pecking order is what you said in your article. So I can see it. It is going to be, I feel like that one though, for us is going to be something that we're gritting our teeth a little bit. We're going to sweat that one out because in the it's playoff Lenny. Right. Leonard Fournette's back and playoff Lenny is here to stay. And
he is here to stay. He is
same
here
with
to stay.
Gronk. So I feel like that one, I'm with you on it, but I feel like that one's going to be one where we're messaging back and forth oh my gosh.
What was I thinking halfway through?
What are we doing?
Right.
Another one though, Cooper Kupp over 8.5 receptions. I think this is another one that we have on our best bets page on pff.com/betting. A ton of value, right? 8.5 receptions, and it has a 28% edge. And I like this one a lot too. I think this one might be one of my favorites, but I don't know. What are you thinking?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, obviously you've rode it, for pretty much the whole season. It has cooled off a little bit. The last 3 games basically has gone over, since week 16. Still getting a pretty heavy target volume though, right? Outside of the, Cardinals game where they made it a priority to kind of double team them in a lot of situations. But this is, our highest value prop, plus 110 price on the over 8.5 receptions. I feel like that's just, too worthwhile, especially if you think the Buccaneers are going to be, ahead in this match. I do love that game script for Cooper Kupp kind of getting a lot of the underneath volume in this offense. So I like it quite a bit. I mean, it's definitely eye popping how much value it shows. Definitely the best play on this particular game. So I think it's a smash spot for sure for Cooper Kupp. So.
And I feel like they have, like, the Rams should be having more of a pass heavy offense this week than in recent weeks.
Yeah, definitely.
Right?
I think they have to.
They have to. That's the only way they're going to beat this team, right?
Right. Definitely. I mean, that's basically how I see it. I do think they're going to be playing from behind. So I do think that that's definitely the spot where they're going to have to win. Now, the question is, match, but who's going to actually get it? And I do think that, Cooper Kupp is going to have the best matchup against Sean Murphy-Bunting, as opposed to any of the other Rams, pass catchers or wide receivers. And, Odell Beckham's going to see a lot of Carlton Davis and Jamal Dean. So I think those two make me a lot more concerned than what, Sean Murphy-Bunting's been able to do so far here, especially in 2021. And even back to 2020. So I think he's the guy that they definitely need in order to be successful offensively. That's been the case all season. I just don't think that they're going to stray too far away from that mentality here in a must-win game, right? So
I like it. I know Cam Akers is back, but I have an anytime touchdown for Sonny Michel.
Let's hear it.
At plus 250. So I like it. I like this one a lot because I know, like, Cam Akers is back, but like Michel has been reliable, right? He's been, even though like the Cardinals held him out of the end zone, but we know that he showed he's still an option. And especially if they're going to be coming from behind potentially, I think that he has good value here, and he could be one that could sneak in to the end zone on Sunday.
There we go. I can get it. I mean, yeah, his price obviously factors in, Cam Akers back and getting at least the bulk of the rushing attempts. But I agree with you. It was kind of, in between the 20s was, the Cam Akers show, and then they did bring Sonny Michel in more toward the goal line. So we should probably see that play out here once again for sure. So
it's our long shot one, and I'll take it. Our long shot of the day. We'll take it. We'll take it. All right, a favorite. This is going to be this is the best game of the weekend probably, and that's Bills Chiefs. I'm interested to see, because I actually did not ask you before this, but I'm interested to see where you fall. The only thing I can say is when I think of this game, I think of Stephon Diggs and all the pictures of him watching them celebrate. And I just can't not imagine that this is their comeback revenge game, but I need you. I don't know. I don't know which way to fall for this game. So I'm really relying on you to let me know what I should do here.
Yeah. I mean, I lean in the Chiefs direction. I think some of that's maybe some bias, Eric Eager chirping in my ear or something like that. But I do think that, looking back to the first game that these two teams faced off with, Tyreek Hill was essentially not involved over the top, right? He had second highest target volume of the 2021 season, but it was all short stuff. I think he had right around a 6.1, 6.0 average depth of target in that game. Just nothing was over the top, and that was for the entire offense, right? I do think they missed a long one to Travis Kelce early on in the game, and then basically had one completion longer than 20 yards. But I do think a lot of that was because of Tre'Davious White, right? So I do think that this is kind of the game that injury is finally going to matter, finally going to catch up to him. I don't think Teron Johnson is going to be, the only person capable of stopping Tyreek Hill. I do think he's going to struggle a little bit in trying to do that. And I just don't think they have anybody, at the outside receiver position either that can really run with Hill. I do think, Micah Hyde and Jordan Poyer are going to be pretty heavily involved in trying to slow down Travis Kelce. So offering some support in a lot of those things. I do think that, Andy Reid's probably going to be in his bag a little bit here, scheming those two to kind of give headache to both those safeties kind of downfield at certain points throughout the game. So I like the Chiefs here. And saying that, basically all of our props and our betting models point toward the under. So maybe that's the direction that you got to lean as well. And maybe that indicates that, the Chiefs have some success slowing down this Bills offense, which is maybe a little bit also difficult to see. But I expect the Chiefs to win this one. And I hope it stays tight throughout, but I do think they're probably going to win by, that field goal differential. So obviously the spread's below that. So take the Chiefs for sure. So.
I'm nervous about that one. No, I like it. I'm nervous about it, but I like it. I'll think about it. I'll think about it for sure. But I think one of my favorite plays though, and one of our favorite props for Sunday is Stephon Diggs over 6.5 receptions. I think we talk about it just like we talk about Cup, that this just seems like something that we go back to every week. And it really, it hits for us almost all the time. And with the game script that you're looking at and the game plan that you just talked about, I think this is another one that could be a lock.
Right, definitely. I do think if they are playing, kind of the catch-up game in a lot of ways, the Chiefs jump out to the early lead, I do think this is definitely the spot to be. It was quite a bit of the Dawson Knox show the first time these guys played, but Stephon Diggs did have a deep shot early, basically, that paid off. And I do think, pretty heavily involved underneath throughout the entire matchup. And I do think that's going to be basically the same game plan from his perspective again here in this divisional round game. So I like this one quite a bit as well. I do think, if you can get a plus price on over 6.5 receptions, definitely a spot. I know it's fluctuating in between, 5.5 receptions, flipping the juice and those sorts of things, but I like 6.5 and I like him going over at a plus price. So I think that's the best spot to get your money in on. So
best play of the weekend. I think that's or of Sunday. I think of Sunday. You're not going to agree with me on that one, but I like it. I like it.
I think I have to agree with now, of course, hindsight, but I have to agree with Bengals money line as being the play of the week, which Eric Eager said. So I don't know.
That's true too.
Hindsight is way easier to say.
Exactly. Now we're saying
that
was easy.
It's easy. No sweat whatsoever, right? So.
All right. Well, another one, Devin Singletary under 2.5 receptions. So, he has a 40.8 receiving grade, right? Which is like I think it's last is what I read in your article among like running backs this season. And he's seen 2 or fewer targets, 10 of 18 games this season. So this one I can see happening to go under 2.5 receptions.
Yeah, definitely. And I think, early on in the first match these two teams played, it was all on Josh Allen's legs. They did score that first possession. He did have the first basically touchdown score game when he ran it in. I think he had like 2 other carries along with it on that very first drive. So I think if he's, potentially going to be checking it down or scrambling, I definitely think it's going to be a spot where he's scrambling. So I think that cuts into Devin Singletary's, reception volume here quite a bit. The fact that if Josh Allen's kind of under pressure, it's going to be more so the fact that he takes off and scrambles and dumps it off to Devin Singletary. We have seen him kind of do both in the last couple of weeks, but I think that's a spot where he's definitely going to be more inclined to take off with his legs, especially given some of the weather and those sorts of things. So if he doesn't have some of those manufactured targets early on, there's just no way that he's going to get over this. So plus price again, I think it's just too enticing to pass up for sure. So
especially, that Chiefs team ranks 11th in coverage grade against running backs this season, right?
Yep. So that's been one of the solid spots, at least from a coverage perspective for sure. Yeah. Right. So
interesting. All right. I like it. One I had highlighted, but I almost want to go back on it is because if Greenline likes the under, why would Patrick Mahomes throw over 2.5 passing touchdowns? Right. That just doesn't seem right.
Yeah. That was my qualm a little bit. I do think this is the PFF forecast lock of the week. But yeah, this one, most of the reason, because, we do like the under in the game. It's the only reason that makes me kind of nervous. If it wasn't for that reason, I would definitely be all on board with it. Maybe it's a pretty good hedge on, taking the under in a lot of scenarios, but it's obviously, a lot of people are projecting a shootout. That's not necessarily where the game total has moved, but it is still really high, 54.5 after opening up at 55. So if you're inclined to see points, which, these teams weren't overly efficient moving the football in their first matchup. I think Patrick Mahomes did have the pick 6 to Micah Hyde, and that and Josh Allen hit some deep throws to Dawson Knox against Stephon Diggs. But outside of that, it was kind of this weird choppy game. So we'll see if this one kind of plays close to the vest, and maybe it doesn't live up to the whole game of the year sort of thing, high scoring where both teams basically put up 40 points. But I think that's what everyone wants. And if that happens and I lose my under bet, so be it. Hopefully, I guess I should lock in a little bit of Patrick Mahomes over 2.5 passing touchdowns as well, just in case.
Just in case. Well, and how much of it is looking at last weekend?
Right.
What Josh Allen did against the Patriots, and then what happened against the Steelers. Like, how much of that is just like pull over from that and thinking, oh, we're gonna get the best game of the year with the two of the best quarterbacks in the league.
Right. Yep. Some heavy recency bias. And obviously, they played at their ceiling, and, projecting teams to play at their ceiling basically every single week is, a good way of going broke quickly, basically, I would say. So
exactly. And we're not here to do that.
No, not at all.
We're not trying to. I do have a touchdown score in this game too, because I kind of stayed off of it today, I believe, but I do like Dawson Knox anytime. And that's because I found him too at plus 200. He led the team in routes run during the wild card game and has really just been the majority of the games when he's healthy. And I think plus 200 is just too much value to pass up, especially, the Chiefs defense we've talked about, they finished middle, like kind of in the middle end of that against tight ends. But Dawson Knox is kind of elite in that aspect. So I kind of like him to get in there anytime. Plus 200 makes sense.
There we go. I can get on board with it. Yeah, he had two great catches basically in the first matchup here, one for a touchdown on broken coverage. So that was kind of his coming out game, and I do think that, we're going to see him heavily involved here once again. So I can definitely get on board with it, sprinkling it a little bit, and make it happen here. So
all right, what is your same game? Your same game parlays have been solid.
Yeah, I wish I would have. I shouldn't be including totals, but in a lot of ways, like that's what gives me the direction on what way I think the game's going to play out. So if you think the over is going to happen here, I think you should just lock in like Patrick Mahomes over 2.5 passing touchdowns.
Okay.
Stephon Diggs over 6.5 receptions. Maybe there's one other over that you like, but just those two, given the plus price, is a plus 375 payout already. So that's pretty good, but you can definitely fold in, maybe your own. If you're more inclined to take the under, I would start with that, go under 54.5, maybe go Devin Singletary under 2.5 receptions, Josh Allen, like under 50.5 rushing yards. It's definitely going to be a sweat as well. I think both of those are going to be not necessarily the most comfortable thing to sit out, but pays out plus 800. I do think that's pretty decent, given the PFF's betting model expectation for kind of how this game plays out. I do think that's at least somewhat likely to happen here, enough to justify that payout. So don't mind either one of those two, depending on how you project the game to play out. So
I like it. I think I'm going to go against you. I think I'm going to take the Bills just so we have something to talk about.
Have to.
Yeah, I think you have to. It's such a close game, right? I'm looking at everything and I'm like, I again, like we said with the Titans game and the Bengals, I was not going to be shocked if the Titans won, but we thought the Bengals would win. So I'm kind of on the same page here. So we'll have something to talk about for the next podcast.
Definitely. We definitely will. You were wrong. And thankfully, like Greenlight doesn't have any sort of play on, the spread basically. So it's all just our own personal opinion in this matter. So I'm excited to see who's right. I'm assuming it'll be you, but I guess we get to find out here soon enough. So
great. Any other plays you have for us today?
I don't think so. I don't think so. I think we might be getting in, another Spaces before the game.
Yeah. Everyone join us for Spaces. I think same time, 3:50 Eastern.
Okay. Taking questions or something. So
yeah. Awesome. Well, thank you so much, Ben. As always, everyone, pff.com/betting. We'll say it every podcast from here on out, every time. It is where we have all of our best bets, everything we talked about. It's a great tool to have when you're betting. And thank you so much for listening.